Right now, the magic number is 51. That's how many days we have until the election. One local race you'll decide on November 6th is for Rock Island County Sheriff. Incumbent Democrat Jerry Bustos won his party's primary in March easily. He took 80% of the vote among Democrats to 20% for his controversial predecessor, Jeff Boyd. We've helped you get to know Sheriff Bustos quite a bit on the issues facing Rock Island County on this program in the past, though you might not know much about his Republican challenger. He's Francisco Cruz Martinez, but he goes by the nickname Keko. Born and raised in Sterling, Illinois, Martinez joined the Marines after graduating high school. He spent 13 years on active duty and another 13 in the reserves. From 1996 to 2000, he worked as a federal police officer on the Rock Island Arsenal, with being a sniper as his specialty. Martinez worked in private security later, went on to pursue an undergraduate degree in religious education, and he spends a lot of time these days volunteering as an unofficial chaplain for the Marine Corps Reserves. This is arguably an uphill challenge for Keko Martinez, taking on the incumbent sheriff, but he certainly believes he's up to the task, and I'm glad to welcome Keko Martinez for a conversation this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi.
Well, there's no scandal in the Sheriff's Department necessarily, so why run now against Sheriff Jerry Bustos?
I didn't even think of running until some people that knew my background, they came up to me and approached me and asked me if I would consider it, and it just kept coming up and coming up. And after I got counsel with my wife and my children, and one day when I was reading my Bible, I was uncertain whether I should run or not, but I fell across a scripture in 1 Chronicles 28:10, and it said, "Take heed now, the Lord hath chosen thee. Be strong and do it." And that sealed it in my heart to run.
You know, Nike also says just do it. So
yeah.
You don't work in law enforcement now. You were a federal officer, certainly.
Yes.
But you never served, I guess, in a local police department or a sheriff's office. So what do you say to people who think you're not qualified for this job?
Well, I wouldn't have been a federal law enforcement officer, SWAT team sniper, and eventually union president if I didn't have the capabilities to do that. I spent 3 years on the Arsenal from October '97 to October 2000, and I felt like I should go and get some religious education, so I attended a local Bible college and put aside law enforcement, but I had to pay for my college, so I got involved in security.
Do you think it helps though to have, very often we see people running for sheriff or people from within a department. You would be an outsider essentially coming into that department.
Yes, and every department, I believe, just like most organizations, it's good to hire from without every once in a while, just to break the monotony of the every day, and interject new ideas, and just kind of be a breath of fresh air to the status quo.
Now, what's the biggest change you promise to bring to the sheriff's office?
The biggest change is I'm always big in morale. I don't know what the morale is exactly with the department now, but wherever I've been before I've left, morale has always improved. Example, in the Marine Corps, I started what's called Marine of the Quarter and NCO of the Quarter, and they would compete at the end of the year for Marine and NCO of the Year. Likewise, in security, I did that for Security Officer of the Year. So I just do things to improve morale and have people want to go above and beyond what they would normally be doing.
So that's one of the emphases you would place. You make some pretty big promises when it comes to your salary if elected. I want to show you this graphic. You say you would donate 10% of your gross salary to your church, 10% of your net salary to an employee emergency fund, and work with the union to decide who gets a share of that. I guess that'd be part of your morale promise. Yes. And another 10% of your net pay to non-for-profit groups that, quote, promote Christian-based morals and patriotism. You go on to say when these are propagated, less crime is typically the result. Now, a lot of people might say that's a very generous plan, certainly, but the last item referring to Christian-based morals could be considered divisive. Why not groups with Hindu or Buddhist, Jewish or Islamic-based morals? What do you say to people who consider this maybe discriminatory, and how do you square that with the separation of church and state clause in the First Amendment of the Constitution?
Well,
it's a lot to unload in that statement. That's why you can understand, though, when
yes.
you hear a statement like that, that it might be somewhat divisive to people.
Yes. Well, I didn't intend to be divisive.
And I'm not saying that you did, but it's the language that is used, and we are a multicultural society.
Yes. Well, the Christian religion is based on love. Caring for one another, and I usually wind up being very caring for the people that I work with and for. And these other religions, I don't know where they're coming from, but I know where mine is coming from. And That's why I want to be generous with my pay and what the taxpayers give me. The taxpayers of this county are so heavily taxed, it's burdensome. And I want to do what I can to relieve that burden, and it will be my pay that I'm giving back in the manner that I see fit that would help our county.
But aren't there necessarily other religions that could be doing good work too and have strong morals and not just Christianity?
There could be, and if they present themselves, we'll talk about it.
All right, well, we have more to talk about with Keko Martinez, what he would do to cut some of the crime plaguing the Quad Cities recently, involving kids and stolen cars, among others, for the record.